I want to ask you something that's very much also interesting to us back in India. I was one of the few people who was not able to come, but really very much wanted to come to Cochabamba. Tell us how that happened, and it was a fantastic idea. And I think you're very, very famous for that. How did that come about, and how did it happen, and what is its lasting effects? So I've just used a code word. You will have to explain to people what is Cochabamba, how it happened.
Well, after Copenhagen, where we had this Copenhagen Accord that was not adopted because 6, 7 countries opposed to that, we decided to call to the People's World Conference on Climate Change and Mother Earth Rights. And in less than 4 months, we organized a conference in Cochabamba, it's a city of Bolivia, where 35 delegates came, 9,000 delegates from around 115 countries. And for 3 days, we discussed all the issues that are related to climate change. The issues of the Kyoto Protocol, of adaptation, of transfer of technology, finance, but also we discuss other issues that here are not being discussed and are the core issues, like what are the structural causes of climate change? It's not a problem of emission, it's a problem of the capitalist system. We discuss what alternatives should we have, not only in relation to reductions of greenhouse gas emissions, but alternatives like the one that came out of Cochabamba, that is, we need to fight for the rights of nature, the rights of Mother Earth. We need to change the way we relate to nature, because we think that nature is just an object, a thing. And nature means everything, not only animals and plants, but also mountains, rivers, the atmosphere. We are all part of one system. Earth, the planet Earth, is a living organism. And of course, if you don't respect the laws of this living organism, the laws of nature, you're going to, in some way, disrupt everything. That is what's happening. So we have presented a proposal that from here we should have had not only commitments to reduce emissions, but also to highlight that now is the time to fight against this apartheid, the apartheid against nature. We have been able in Bolivia to fight and defeat the apartheid against indigenous people that were more than 65–70% of the population. But now we have to fight against the apartheid that exists in all the world against nature.
It would be great, isn't it, if we had a session in the Assembly, General Assembly of the UNFCCC, a discussion like this, because politicians don't like to speak this language anymore. And in fact, after Marrakesh, they speak the trade of the language of caps and trading, and you know what I'm talking about, all those kind of things. Is it possible, you think? And what's happened after Cochabamba?
Well, our main proposal is that we open a discussion on that. I mean, it's not fair that we spend so much time to discuss the issue of markets, of carbon markets, and not to discuss other alternatives. So we must be balanced. But there is a very big opposition from rich countries. They don't want to discuss the issue of rights of nature because they think that this challenges the rights of corporations, of big transnational companies that now in all the world are moving in a way to grab the last final natural resources that we have. Now, after Cochabamba, a movement around the whole world began to be built. I come here, for example, to South Africa, and I went to Johannesburg, to Cape Town, and suddenly I began to meet with trade unions, with grassroots movements, with peasants and so on, and they began to speak to me about Cochabamba. Yeah, this is just something amazing, and about rights of nature, and saying, yes, we see that we need to build a new alternative. So the most important thing about Cochabamba was, for the first time, to give an option, not only the opposition to something, but let's think out of the box with a different kind of alternative. Now, the challenge that we have is we need to advance in concrete victories, even if they are small. And in order to do that, the movement, the climate justice movement, has to have more linkages with the Occupy Wall Street movement, with the movement of the Indignados, with this great rebellion that we are seeing in many Arab countries, because we are all part of the same. Here, the negotiations are failing because they are putting in front of everything the interests of 1% of the population. If we are going to save the climate change negotiations, we have to have the interests of the 99% of the population in front of any decision. If this doesn't happen, we're going to see a Cancun 3, a Cancun 2, or a Copenhagen 3. You know, this is the story of those movies that you see, the second, the third version. You know, it's the story of the COPs, and the last 3 COPs have been almost a repetition, but each repetition is worse than the one before.
So rather than having remakes of the cops, we want a remake of the system.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much. That was wonderful.